Hello everyone, I'm Charlotte, and in this video I'm actually going to show you how I made these two hats. I actually made buckram frames for them, and then I covered them in scrap fabric leftover from some of the vests and jackets that I made, and then I finished them off with some solo wood flowers. So let's get to it. The process starts with cutting the buckram. Now, buckram is a stiff cotton cloth with a loose weave that has been soaked in this stiffening agent, and that's what makes it a fantastic interfacing for the hats that I'm making. In case you were wondering, this is what it sounds like when you draw on buckram.
Scab over into something worse than he ever was before. The words I managed to speak are quite different. You like Iris? I ask instead. He scratches a hand along his scalp and huffs. Child.
Then I scavenged through my pile of scraps that I have for making the jackets and vest. I was kind of hoping that there would be a large enough piece from the tweed, but there's to do the whole hat, but no such luck. So I decided I was just going to use some of the solid wool and kind of make it accent. So after I get that all cut out, I am going to bind the millinery wire around the edges. Not a particularly fun step, but it is necessary to ensure that the hat stays formed. Then I add it to the what's that part of the hat called? The tall standy-uppy part. I add it to that part. Then I attach the pretty fabric to the top, making sure it's all nice and smooth. Then I actually run the fabric around the crown, and that's what that tall standy up part is called. It's called the crown. So I run the fabric around the crown and I mark where it meets up, and then I sew the seams and pull it down over the crown. It's a snug fit. It takes a little bit of work to wiggle it on, but it is easier than putting a shirt on someone who just had their wisdom teeth removed and is a little bit loopy from anesthesia, but has just decided they are wearing the wrong shirt because they are hot cold. You know, in case you were wondering. Then I fold down the seam allowance and I hand sew the top to the crown. And then I flip the hat over and tack the seam allowances to the inside of the hat. Then I get to set that part aside so I can start work on the brim. To make the brim, I sandwich the buckram pieces between 2 layers of fabric, and then I transfer the marking for the inside circle, and then I go ahead and just run a stitch around that circle on my machine. And then I go and mark the second circle about an inch smaller than that one, and that is actually the space where I'm going to make the tabs that I use to attach the brim to the crown. I take the outer edge of the brim and turn the seam allowances over the buckram and tack it down, and then I take the top layer of fabric and I fold it under and I stitch it with tiny little invisible stitches, making sure that the seam is perfectly on the edge. the little tabs that I made and place the crown on the brim, making sure that the tabs are all on the inside of the hat. And then I secure the tabs to the crown, making sure that I can't see the stitches on the outside. Now it does technically get covered with a ribbon, but I still don't want big obvious stitches. I used some scrap ribbon that has been in my stash for longer than I care to admit. Then I decorated it with these solo wood flowers that I just bought and dyed. I've never actually used these before. I just think I saw an ad for them and thought it would be fun. So I bought them. They're actually really very easy to dye and really fun to work with. I think I'm really going to like them, and I'm probably going to use them again. After these are all sewed on and secured and looking pretty, I turn the hat over and I sew up and attach the lining so that the inside of the hat also looks nice. And then I put fabric weights on the inside to keep the lining from shifting while I sew. Then it is all done. It is so pretty. I just love it. I'm so pleased with the way it turned out. I also made a blue one using some of the same general techniques, except the fabric around the crown, I didn't have any large enough pieces, so I had to kind of patchwork some together, but I really love the way it turned out. And I really hope you enjoyed watching the video of me making them. Have a wonderfully amazing day, and here is some video of the hats on actual people, me and my daughter to be specific.